get into another episode. Thank you for tuning in at the top of the week. Today, we have a very special guest with us. Her name is Tyneka, and I'm super excited to interview her and get into some things because I got some questions. But can we just talk about her beauty, though? Like, oh my goodness, this is
Oh,
Black Girl
thank
Magic
you.
at its finest. But thank you and welcome to the show. I don't want to put you on the spot, make you blush no more. But hey,
Hi. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to talk to you today.
yes, I'm excited too. And I was just like, oh my goodness, I know it's early, but where are you calling in from?
From Maryland.
Maryland. You're the second person I had this season from Maryland. I didn't know my other
Really?
one. She's my colleague. She's a PA. She owns her own urgent care in Maryland. She does house calls. It's called Ready Care. hmm So
Ready care.
I didn't
Okay.
think she was in Maryland. I don't know where I thought she was, but you're the second one.
I'm glad that you get some Maryland folks on your
Yes, the
show.
DMV. So I'm just like, where at
Yes.
in Maryland are you? Everybody know Baltimore, but
Yes, I am in the Baltimore area. Exactly.
Seymour. Okay, we
Yes.
got our family reunion up that way. We were in the middle of downtown at that Holiday Inn, and that was like my first time
Okay.
downtown Maryland. And this was like maybe 5 years ago. It was a little while back, but I still remember
Yeah.
because I told myself next time I come in, I'm a fly. I can't do driving. I can't. It
Yes.
took me a whole hour to
Definitely.
get off one exit.
I believe it though. I believe it. Yeah, that can be Maryland and Baltimore for you. So
Yes,
fly
yes,
in,
I got to
girl.
fly in. All right, my love. So I usually try to break the ice a little bit by doing like an
Okay.
icebreaker. This is my favorite question, and my audience knows that I love to ask people what is their favorite caffeinated beverage, if caffeine is your thing at all. But if not, I got another icebreaker. So, are you a caffeine drinker?
Every
Every
morning.
morning. Yay! What do you drink? What's your go to?
So I'm super simple with my coffee in the morning. So I have just regular coffee and my oat milk creamer and stevia. That's it.
Okay. So how is stevia?
That's it.
Like switching from regular sugar to stevia, I've always wanted to ask somebody, but I ain't never known nobody who was taking stevia. And the people that I did know were like influencers and big time people who probably wouldn't even
Yeah.
respond to my comment. But like, how is stevia compared to like, cause I've had Splenda. I ain't like the taste of it. So I'm like, how is stevia?
Yeah. Yes. So it's, I would say it's an acquired taste, but like once you're used to it, when you go back to tasting sugar, like everything is super sweet. So I've been using stevia for maybe like the last, what year is this? 2022. So probably the last 5 years, six
Uh-huh.
years. So I'm kind of used to it. But the liquid stevia and like the powder stevia tastes different. I just use the liquid.
Okay, okay, gotcha. Maybe Imma go for the liquid
Yep.
then, Imma try, because 'cause I'm on this whole
Yes.
sugar-free type. I'm trying, but, like, spinach and all the things, and so
All the things.
yes, I've lost a little bit of weight, but we'll get into that too, like, I know I
Okay.
know you said, like, well, you didn't say this, but I was reading this about you. You got into
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
bodybuilding and, like, you have, like, your own business, which is an
Mm.
LLC, and you help other people. Like, how did that get started?
Phew, you want the very, very beginning story of how I even got into fitness? We going all the way back
Let's
back?
go back because this is all about resilience and stuff. So we gotta hype our audience up a little bit and give them some inspiration for the week.
All right. All right. So my story of how Impact Fitness came about. So it was about thir- almost 14 years ago at this point. I was an intern. No, I was a sophomore at college looking for an internship. And I was a business major, but I needed like experience in sales and marketing.
Mhm.
So long story short with that, I found a internship with an insurance company. Now, I used to be a super shy person, so I wasn't sure how I was going to do sales and marketing if I was shy. Like I didn't know how that would go together.
Yeah.
Um but I made it work, but there were definitely some hard
Mhm.
times during that whole thing. at the time, there were times where I had to use like gift cards to make sure I had lunch or breakfast the next day, to get my car repossessed, like all the things.
Right.
So, in the midst of trying to find my next move,
Mhm.
I started a hobby in fitness, so going to the gym. Um, I met these group of girls who I started working out with, and they all competed in different bodybuilding competitions. I didn't want no parts of that, but I'm just like, I'll be here, support y'all. Let me come work out with you. And then I had went to this one show, and this one athlete that I saw, like her body was amazing. I'm like, yep, this is what I want to do. So I competed in a few shows. And towards the end of my, well, paused bodybuilding career, one of my friends that came to me and was like, hey, Tanika, she's the only one who calls me Tanika instead of Tyneka. She's like, Tanika, I need your help. So I'm just like, what? So she wanted me to help her lose weight, to get this procedure done that she wanted done. And she had to be a certain BMI, da 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 da. So I'm just like, yeah, that's all fine and dandy, but like, I don't know how to coach you. Like, I just follow what my coach tells me. So how am I supposed to tell someone
Right.
else, you know, what to do? But she trusted me. She believed in me. And I'm just like, okay. And she wasn't the first person to suggest that I, become a personal trainer.
Mhm.
So I went, took my test, passed it. She was my first like unofficial client.
Uh-huh.
And we met our goals. Everything was good. She lost the weight. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can really do this. And I actually enjoyed it.
Yes.
So from there, her support and her encouragement kind of got me started in the business officially.
Yes.
So that's like the beginning. And that was what, 5 years ago when I first started it.
Oh man, so that's exciting. Like you were just like, nah, I'm just going to be here. I'm just going to do something, just something a little different. So I'm just going to dip my pinky toe in, and then the Lord
That's it.
just pushed you.
Literally,
Yes,
literally, there were so many signs and so many things that just aligned during that time, and I'm just like, "Well, maybe I should just try it,"
right.
because, during that time, the insurance internship, well, at that point, it was my job or
Yeah.
whatever. There's just so many things that had happened that kinda led me to that, so, yeah.
Yes. So originally, you just wanted to go to school. Like, what was your goal? What did you think your goal was going to be?
I I thought I was gonna go there, business administration. I knew I was gonna run my business,
Hmm.
my own business, but my first love was actually fashion design. That's what I was supposed to go to school for,
Hmm.
and I got accepted to like a college for that, but I didn't go for that. So I thought I was gonna be some kind of fashion designer somewhere.
Yes, and it's funny
And
how like
yeah,
we have our own little plans and we tell the Lord, this is what I'm gonna do, and the Lord be like, all right, I see it, but I got something else for you. I'm gonna switch this up.
something completely
Yes,
different.
something completely different because I never thought I was gonna be doing what I'm doing. So I thought I was gonna be a cardiologist or working with babies in the neonatal, and I
Mhm.
ended up in psychiatry. Wasn't even thinking about psychiatry, but I fell in love with it when I got to school. And I didn't fall out of love with
Yeah.
cardiology, but cardiology, to learn as a student with no prior cardiac experience, that was rough trying to read EKGs. Every little hump, every little line means something, and that was just too
Oh, right.
overwhelming. Yes, it was too overwhelming for me.
I'm sure.
I was just like, no, maybe family med. And then I saw psychiatry, and then I was like, this is it. I don't know why, but this is
Mhm.
it. And it is. That's my jam.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love
Yes.
it.
So when you started, after you coached your first client and you were like, all right, I think I can do this, what was the next step for you? Like, did you start with the website? Did you get a coach? Or did you just kind of like, because I know being an entrepreneur Oh Lord. So like how did everything, but you have the background though, because you went to school for business administration. So I'm like, how did you kind of piece all that together and how was impact kind of like birthed out of that?
So the funny thing is, I didn't even finish college. I have or had, however you want to look
Yeah.
at it, like a year and maybe like a semester
Yeah.
left before so I didn't even finish. So
That's all right.
that's a whole nother story. So I didn't even finish. So
I'm like, that's
yeah. So about that, I mean, I took what I learned
yes, what you learned, that's all that
during
matters.
that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I kept saying I was gonna go back, but
Mhm.
it's still never too late.
No.
But um so once that happened, her procedure was, I think, January of 20, I don't remember the year,
Hmm.
but I was just like, okay, well, she actually started introducing me to other people. And that's kind of how I got my first few clients was actually referrals from
Uh-huh.
her. Um, and then I decided to make it official. So I registered and started my LLC. And I purposely made my incorporation date November the 1st, which is 11/1, because my favorite scripture is Hebrews 11:1, all about faith.
Yes.
So it kind of makes a full circle in how Impact Fitness came about because of the faith that I had. Um, so yes, purposely made it November 1. Um, so from there, like a lot of my clients, a lot of my growth has come from my initial client. Her name is Jaleesa.
Hmm.
Her, and then just the people that she, referred and built. So I did not have a
Uh-huh.
mentor um, at all. So in the beginning, I just kind of winged it, but I did know personally like a few other trainers. So just kind of like following them and getting advice when I needed, but I did a lot of figuring it out on my own.
Yes. And I would love to emphasize that just for 1 second because we live in a day and age where people put so much pressure on like finding, I mean, I'm not saying that there's no benefit to having a coach and a mentor because those people are probably where you want to be and they've probably been through it and made the mistakes and can kind of help you not make those same mistakes and not have to struggle or take longer to reach where you want to be because they've been through it, so they just help walk you through it. I believe that's powerful because I do mentorship, but then it's
Absolutely.
just like there's so much free information out here that people forget the power that they have to learn or at least educate or at least get a basis. And then, if you want a mentor or whatever or a coach, then go get it. But I mean, don't dumb down yourself like you can't learn or you can't like you don't have the power to
Yeah.
find the information. The information is out there. YouTube is a gold mine. Not everybody on
Yeah.
YouTube tell the truth, but there are a lot.
That's true. That's true.
Yes, there are a lot of people, and I've seen like people get scammed and stuff, and I feel so bad. Like when they share their stories. Of course, TikTok University is out now, and we didn't have TikTok a couple years ago, like 5 years ago, 6 years ago. But like people will get on here and like I reached out to this coach and blah blah blah, like on Instagram, and I got scammed because they weren't a coach because they didn't have the credentials or whatever. But people just want your money, so I'm like, tread lightly, tread real light and do
Very.
your research on these people before you give them your money.
I agree.
Yes,
I completely agree.
yes.
Yes.
So kind of like once you got started, you depended on the other trainers and people that you knew. You were spreading word of mouth was getting out. Like, did it surprise you how fast, like, how fast you grew, how fast everything took off? Like, did it all fall into place? Of course, everybody have a little bit of struggles, but like, was it at all even stressful to you at some point, or was it just like butter? Everything just fell into place. No,
Definitely not like butter. Uh Definitely I would not say butter, okay? So
like rocks. Okay, no.
we won't do that, okay? So I would say in the
Mhm.
beginning, it did grow faster than I did think.
Okay.
Um, so, I did have to learn the hard way with a few things. And also, mind you, during this time, like I'm still actively in insurance. And I say that because, like I was saying, like I'm a super shy
Uh-huh.
person. But once I actually started getting into fitness and bodybuilding, like my confidence and everything else just kind of like skyrocketed and it spilled through everything else in life, including the insurance. So that's a whole nother story. But girl, what did you ask me? Oh yeah, it wasn't like it wasn't like
It's okay. It's all right.
it wasn't like butter. So yes, it did grow quickly, but I would say two of the most challenging things that I have experienced so far is one, balance with work and my
Mhm.
self-care. Um, and then two, surviving COVID.
Oh, yes.
So I would say those two were my biggest struggles so
Mm.
far with the business. So, I mean, in the beginning, I grew fairly quickly, ran boot camps, and there was a time where I was up to personally 20 in person clients that I was working with.
Uh-huh.
And I wasn't even doing anything online at the time. So the balance between that, between the insurance, and then still finding personal time for
Mm.
self-care, that didn't even really exist in my world back then, but it does now, and that just plays a big role
Yes.
now
Right.
than it.
Yeah, because I'm just like, listen, everything had to switch to online during COVID. And being how resilient we are as a human race, we should all get a gold medal because that was ghetto. How did you how did you switch from in person to online? Like what was the thought process with that? Were you just like, I don't know, or was it like let's just roll with it or kind of
We were in the trenches. So when they shut down everything, I was just like, okay, y'all, they still wanted to train. So I'm like, all right, I gotta figure something out. So I'm like, all right, let's let's just meet up at like the outdoor track that's like right down the street. The weather's okay. Let's just meet down there. So you started going to this high school
yeah.
track until they started locking the gates. So we got kicked out of that. So I'm like, all right, well, let's do Zoom.
Uh,
We're gonna do Zoom until we figure it out. Now the thing is, all of them, I didn't have private sessions with most of them. They were like shared
mhm.
sessions. So I had to do Zoom workouts with two or three people on the
Right.
call, knowing each person did not have access to the same equipment. So I'm just like, okay, so you have a barbell. Perfect. You have a broomstick. Do you have bands? Okay. Do you have a backpack? Perfect. Put weights in there, put some books in there, use that as resistance. So I had to cater each person's
Right.
workout to the items they had at home until I figured out what else we were going to do. That was great.
Yes.
So I'm just like, okay, well, let's go to the local park. So by this time, it was like end of May, early June. It's already hot.
Oh,
So we're working out 7 in the
uh-huh.
morning. It's still hot. So having to buy equipment, improvise workouts, but they stuck it all the way through, and we were at that basketball court until the gyms opened back up. We didn't go back until maybe like 3 weeks after things opened
Yeah.
up, but we were out there, basketball court, random equipment, getting it done.
Yes, I love the determination and perseverance because you was like, "Oh, you got a broomstick? Cool. Get a backpack. Put some books in there. Like, let's
Exactly, we had to
together."
improvise.
Yes,
We had to improvise, and I love that they still wanted to train.
yes.
So I'm just like, they still wanted to come.
Mhm.
They still had goals
Right.
regardless of what was going on in the world. So I'm just like, I got to make it work for them. Now, some people, they weren't able to like come in person.
Mhm.
So, there's that. But the ones who did stick it out, like we figured it out and made it work until we came back.
I know that gives you like butterflies and happiness inside because those people, like, they didn't have to. They could have just gave up and got the bag of Doritos and just fell back because everybody else was in the house eating. So, I mean, not everybody, because there are a lot of people
Close.
Like, yeah, they reached their goals. They were like, "Oh, I ain't got to get up and drive to work. Oh, I can plan my meals. I have all this time." And a lot of people did share their stories of weight loss during COVID online, and they were like, "I have all this time. Now I can slow down. Now it allows me to do XYZ." Everything wasn't
Mhm.
going stir crazy for everybody. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Me, on the other
Yep.
hand, I don't think I gained any weight during COVID, but I was definitely eating. I tried to work out. I did.
There's a silver lining everywhere, okay?
Definitely
Silver lining
silver
everywhere.
lining. We were eating
Mhm,
everything, okay? But we don't think we gained too much weight. But then I lost it. So I was sharing with you before we started recording. I lost 10 pounds. And I think that the
mhm,
most, like, the hardest thing is the mindset when it comes to fitness for me. Because I
mhm.
thought, like, to lose weight, I had to be doing burpees and I had to do the stair. I hate the stairmaster. And I was like, I hate running. I hate cardio. I hate it all. And then I went on Thumbtack, found this little guy, and he was like, really? All you got to do is keep your heart rate between 90 and 120, I think. And then he was like, just go walking, do 30 minutes, and then add some weights and do an hour. And then he was like, just take it slow. When I found out that it ain't had to be burpees and high intensity and all this other stuff, I lost 10 pounds. And I was just like, so I was complicating it. And he was like, eat potatoes, eat starch. Whereas other people tell you, don't eat starch, don't eat carbs. And I was just like, what? I can eat, I was
Girl,
French frying it. I was baking potatoes. I was mashed potatoes.
it was like, "Say less, yes, say less." Got it.
Yes, potato, everything, sweet potato, what you call it, quinoa. I was out here, man, and I
Mhm.
lost weight, and I was like, wow, it wasn't hard. So now just trying to understand where I'm gonna go next. But like, do you see that a lot with your clients? Like they overcomplicate it, or maybe they just don't know where to start, I guess.
I see that so often. And funny, recent like I just posted this on my Instagram 2 days ago. I have an online client that I work with now.
Mhm.
Um, maybe I've been working with her maybe 2 months. She came to me. Her diet was super, super low carbs. She was basically keto.
Uh-huh.
So low carb, high
Yeah.
fat, moderate to low
Yeah.
protein. And I looked at it, I'm just like, "We're gonna switch your diet,
Yeah.
like, completely. Like, you need the carbs, like, you need to up your protein. You can still keep the fats in, but not as much." So I completely changed
Mhm.
everything that she was eating, and she was just like, "I don't know if I can eat all these carbs." I'm like, "You gotta trust
Right.
me." So she just posted, sent me a message the other day saying how she's been working out for 3 years, the same diet, no
Right.
change, but now, like, she's losing weight, she's feeling stronger in the gym, her clothes fit differently, like, just because of the changes, in the diet. A lot of people think, like, you have to do all this cardio or you can't eat carbs. Like, those are things you need, and if your program, is properly structured, like, you can do that. Walking is, like, the best for losing weight. It's not anything you have to do intense, no burpees and things like that, just walking and movement. That's it. You gotta keep it simple.
Yes, and
You
then,
gotta keep it
like,
simple.
once I figured that out, I was like, "What?" So now now that it's getting cold outside and I can't go walking because I wake up at the crack of dawn. It'd be 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and there's a park
Yep.
across the street from my house, and I walk over there, and I try to hit at least 2 miles and then walk back. And, now that it's cold, everybody's like, "Don't go, it's dark, and now it's cold, somebody gonna snatch you." And I was like, "Okay, well, let me figure out," and I'll so I'm still trying to figure this out and maybe move my workouts to the afternoon or late evening when I get home from work and go walking. But sometimes when I get off work, I be tired. But like,
I understand. Trust me, I get it.
yes, but like if there's anybody out there and they're sitting here and they're listening and they're like, oh my gosh, this is Black Girl Magic. I really want to work with her. I love her spirit and enthusiasm, which I do. And they're just
Oh,
like, oh,
oh.
how can I get in contact with her? Like what are your socials? What is your website? Like drop all the goodies.
So you can find all of my socials, all of my everything at connectwithtyneka.com. So connect with TYNEK as in kite, as in apple.com. all of my website, IG, YouTube, all of that is right on there. So you can connect with me on all socials.
Yes, and when y'all go on there, y'all gonna love it. I love it. I love looking at her pictures and like all the things on her page. So please go check her out. And one more
Thank
question
you.
for you, love. Of course. One more
Yes.
question for you. I want to say, like, to anybody out there listening, and maybe they're in a season of feeling lost or don't know what to do, or maybe they're just confused. What would you say to them, or what advice would you give anybody listening right now?
Um, I would say take a pause. A lot of the times we feel lost, we feel confused just because we're trying to focus on too many things, have a lot going on all at once.
Mhm,
So, taking a pause, taking time for yourself, number 1, um, praying for sure, meditating, all that good stuff because everything is chaotic. We have a lot going on, but we can get a lot of clarity and direction just by just taking a pause
right.
and taking time for yourself. So that would be my number one recommendation.
Yes, and I love the fact that you not only said take a pause, but you also said pray about it, because this whole podcast is about resilience and faith. And even though we might not have like a 30-minute conversation about how good the Lord is, because that's not even enough time, but like even though we might sprinkle little bits and pieces, but my audience knows that no matter if we say his name or not, God is always in the mix. Always in the mix. And so
Absolutely.
I don't think there's any better higher power to direct you. He wrote your whole blueprint before you even got here. So I think that's the best person to consult with when you feel lost.
I agree. I completely agree.
Yes.
Agreed.
Yes. So take heed, guys. That was awesome advice. And love, I thank you so much for taking time out your Saturday to be on here with us
Yes.
and talk to us and give us some inspiration to start our week. And guys, I want to thank you guys for listening. Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off. What were you gonna say?
No, just saying
Oh
absolutely.
yes.
Thank you.
No problem. No problem. I'm so silly. But yes, guys, thank y'all for joining in for another episode of Resilience by Faith. And I will see you guys on the next episode. Be safe out there and remember to stay positive. See y'all on the next episode. Bye, guys.